In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone. I am Paul Amadeus Lane, ABC News Radio, KMET. You're checking us out on iHeartRadio, iTunes, live stream, YouTube. What else? Guys, tell me in my ear if I'm messing up anything. Am I messing up anything? No, we got you covered. All right. Remember, you can always connect with me, Paul AmadeusLane.com. If you missed the first segment of the show, I talked about my love of NAMM and how it made an impact on me when I was a teenager. Something else made an impact on me too. In particular brand. How many of you experience nostalgia? I mean, like real nostalgia, where the emotions just swell up in your inner person, and it's just like, man, it takes you to a certain place. That's what happened to me being at NAMM, and I will tell you why. I was in the third grade when I first started playing the trumpet. And I know my dad was like, well, I don't know if you're going to stick with it, so I'm going to get you, a secondhand trumpet. So he did. And no lie, this trumpet looked like it was like washed in, I don't know, like Brillo pads and got all scratched up. But I used it up until I got into junior high. And I remember coming home and my father said, son, I got something for you on the counter. So I went in there. I turned the corner. I see this kind of brownish burgundy case. I open up that case. A beautiful, brand spanking new Yamaha trumpet. Now, if you have ever gotten an instrument, you know what I'm talking about, and waited for it, and your parents finally got you one, how that made you feel? Well, that's how I felt. I remember going to the next day school, telling my music teacher, Mr. Barkis, over at Bancroft Junior High. I said, Mr. Barkis, guess what? I got my new trumpet. He was like, boy, that's a nice one. That still touches my heart today. But then I remember I must have been about 11 to 12. And my dad had a Fender Rhodes because he, my brother, myself, my sister, we all did music. And I remember we were getting an addition to our house. And the roof was kind of like messed up. So it started to rain and the roof caved in and messed up the Fender Rhodes that my dad had. See, at that time we had a Juno 60. But my dad still loved the weight of an 88-key keyboard. So he searched around because at that time they stopped really making Fender Rhodes back then. So my dad looked in the recycler. How many of us remember the recycler? Especially if you're a musician, you get some great deals in the recycler. Well, Pops, what he did his research and everything. So we went to this one cat's house. He was a musician. And he tells my dad, Ed, here it goes right here. So I look at it and everything, and I see the words Yamaha CP35. And I'm like, wow, we're getting another Yamaha? So I was like hyped up and everything. So I started playing it and everything. My dad did. He loved the weight of the keys. And he gigged with that for a very, very long time. A few years later, Yamaha came out with the DX7. Man, that just blew our minds. We read about it in the musicians' magazines, saw one at the Guitar Center, and his pops was like, I'm going to get me one of those. And he eventually did. Now, some of you out there are probably looking at me like, hey, Paul, why are you so hyped up about it? You just don't understand. I will tell you why you don't understand. Well, hopefully I can make you understand. You may not know what a Yamaha DX7 is, but I bet you know songs that were on that used DX7. Different musicians used the DX7. How many of us remember "You're Just Another Part of Me"? Michael Jackson, Captain EO. Remember that bass line? Yamaha DX7. So I think it was the preset number 12, electric bass. Man, that just blew our minds. And how many of you are Al Jarreau fans? Al Jarreau had a song, "Tell Me What I Got to Do to Get to Your Heart." And in the beginning, that was a DX7 sound. Now, I may be wrong, so tweet me, get at me, let me know if I'm wrong. And then a few years after that, they came out with the DX7 too. That just blew our mind even more. Now, there was a hit song by Natalie Cole when she had her resurgence. It was called "Jumpstart My Heart." In the beginning, it had a little keyboard riff. That was the Yamaha DX7 II, one of their sounds. And I remember the orchestra hits, all the different sounds, love playing that. As you can tell, when I go to NAMM and I see Yamaha, man, it just blows my mind. But something else that blew my mind even more was sitting down and talking to the new president of Yamaha Corporation here in America, Mr. Tom Sumner, and talk to him about his love of music, Yamaha, and what they were doing at NAMM 2019. Without any further delay, here is my interview with the one, the only, Tom Sumner. Tom, it is an honor speaking with you. How are you enjoying your NAMM?
Oh, NAMM is fantastic this year. We have a ton of people here, and we're introducing our new brand promise, which is Make Waves, which is talking about how people can make a difference with their own music, whether they do it just for their own soul or whether they want to change the world. So it's been a great show, and introducing basically 50 plus new products here too.
Wow, this is amazing because Yamaha is kind of like, I say, the anchor in NAMM. You know, we always find out great things happening. And talk about just planning to come to NAMM and deciding what to show off.
Yeah, it's actually kind of tough. So we try to bring pretty much only new product to the show because every year we make about 200 brand new products. So it's really only new product that we can bring to the show. And we start planning this show back in July. This is, January. So we're planning over half a year for this. We have about 300 to 400 people from Yamaha here at the show today. And we usually have about 30,000 to 40,000 people that come through our booth at NAMM to see our products. It's pretty fun.
And Tom, just talk about not only Yamaha, be on the audio side where we can listen to our surround sound, to music and instruments and digital. How do you keep everything together?
It's really actually from a standpoint of what do we do. We have folks that are really, dedicated to, say, pianos, or really dedicated to trumpets, or really dedicated to guitars, and they're basically, that's their specialty. So even though it says Yamaha on it, and we have the same quality and the same passion about what we do, we have folks that are specialists in that area, even home theater or whatever it is. So, there are people that get up every morning going, wow, how can we make a better home theater experience? Or wow, how can we make the new stage piano be just fantastic for the musician that's going to play the stage piano?
And Tom, when we look at where we're at in the stream of time with technology, content creators, a lot of musicians out there,
Yep.
Talk about how that has changed the games when it came to musicians who are creating their own brands and how they're loving Yamaha and really just highlighting the brand that they're using.
Yeah, so definitely folks, way back when, professional musicians only toured to support their records, right? Because they were making all their money on the records. But now they have to play live to support themselves, basically. And folks have built brands and built careers on YouTube. So Lindsey Sterling's a great example, Jacob Collier, all sorts of people that have really built their careers where you couldn't build it before unless you had a record contract. So, but then they're still, going live. So Lindsey Live is fantastic, And so we're building things now, kind of taking that other end of the curve into it. So how do you do this live? How do you make a dynamic performance live? So that's still, really the heart and soul of music is seeing it live and experiencing it live and making it live. So a lot of our products, like our new stage pianos, really designed to have musicians be able to create on the fly and really play what they're feeling.
And Tom, I remember when I was growing up, I said, when I get married to get my own house, I want to get a Yamaha baby grand. I wanted to put it in my family room. That never happened yet, but you guys make some awesome grand and baby grand pianos.
Yeah, so the piano's been basically the same for most manufacturers for 400 years, but every single day we wake up trying to figure out how do we make it better, right? So we do all sorts of wacky things like, it's like, hey, wow, this piano that's, 50 years old sounds way better than this brand new piano. So we do things like ARE, which is basically a treatment that we do on the wood that makes it feel like the wood feel like it's older, and it makes the piano really sustain and ring. And then we do other things like our transacoustic piano, which is we looked at the soundboard of the piano, and it's basically a big old speaker, right? So we put a transducer on that, and then it lets folks be in a really small piano, and it makes it feel like they're sitting in front of a 9-foot grand, or you can put strings or horns or anything over that, and it really gives, again, the musician a great live real-time experience on the piano.
And when it comes to just being in this industry for many years, what do you think has been the most transformational product that Yamaha has produced to really just change the game when it comes to musicians?
Wow, that's a huge question because there have been a lot of them. I think one of the areas that's really strong is digital mixing, because for both live performance and for recording, that's a big deal. Being able to change things on the fly, to have automated mixing. So for creators, that's a big deal. Of course, the other thing is, all around synthesis and, really getting great music sounds. I was just talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was like, he says, if I was 13 years old and had what I have today as far as technology and, being able to go into your music studio or your music room at home, and it's like, oh, I have a keyboard and it plays a grand piano and it sounds like a Yamaha CFX grand piano, or I want to have timpani and it sounds like you've got real timpani that you're playing there, which when I was growing up, you didn't have that just was not available.
And I know you and I were talking before we conducted the interview. I told you my love of Yamaha, having the trumpet when I was in third grade, the Yamaha CP35, the DX7 1 and 2, just some of the sounds that were produced by Yamaha change music. I mean, you could talk to musicians and say, okay, what was the synthesized bass that Michael Jackson used in another part of me? And they say electric bass, DX7. So, just being a part of music history and the industry is truly amazing, Tom.
Yeah, I think, if you look at the DX7 is a perfect example, right? Because one of the key sounds on that was that really amazing Fender Rhodes sound, where, for years musicians tried to haul around those great big old Fender Rhodes that weighed seemingly hundreds of pounds. I don't think they were hundreds of pounds, but they were really heavy. And now you could get the perfect sound and in that one package, and it was beautiful. And I think it was on just about every record in the 80s. I think just about every record in the 80s seemed to have that Fender Rhodes patch. Yeah.
I was listening to some old Al Jarreau the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And the song, Tell Me What I Got to Do to Get to Your Heart. And I remember the intro of that music with that nice little piano run. That was a Yamaha sound. And when I hear things like that, that takes me back to a good place. And how does that make you feel knowing that once have a personal connection with Yamaha throughout their whole life of being a musician, and just how Yamaha was very integral in just a lot of their training?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we definitely want to do is to, really connect with musicians all across their life. And, musicians, you talk about playing trumpet as a youngster. We have a lot of folks that start off in band and they might play a Yamaha sax or a Yamaha trumpet. And then, when they progress, they might say, well, gee, I can't really, I love trumpet or I love saxophone, but they learn how to play guitar, or they learn how to play keyboard or something, where they can, again, really relate to the music a lot better. So it's amazing, to be involved with folks, really throughout their musical life.
Tom, before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like the audience or the viewer to know about the NAMM experience and what to be on the lookout for coming up, and this is weird when I say it, 2019.
Yeah, 2019. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, all sorts of cool things happening. The NAMM show is a really great experience if folks ever get a chance to come out and see it. It's really for the industry only, but there's over 100,000 people here, and you run into like amazing musicians all the time that are just kind of walking around looking at stuff. Typically, Stevie Wonder will walk around every once in a while and come in and see what's new and loves playing. And everybody that's passionate about music, it's a really good vibe here. And this year we got, Yamaha has a ton of new things coming out. Key things, I think we have our new stage pianos, which I talked about a little bit. We also have this new thing called a Sonogenic, which is a keytar that you can play. So a keytar is like a guitar. You play it like a guitar, but it's got a keyboard. And it goes anywhere from, you can play no wrong notes, meaning if you don't play but you want to get really involved in it and move around with it, you can do it, but it works like a regular keyboard as well. So it's really democratizing music for a lot of folks.
I used to love that because I used to perform too and be able to have the keyboard like George Duke would do, and just play along with it and everything. Man, you're taking me back, Tom. I really love it, love it. So how can ones find out more information about Yamaha and the great things that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so you can follow us on any of our social media properties at Yamaha Music USA, or you can hit up our website, which is usa.yamaha.com.
Tom, it's been an honor talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Thank you so much for coming in.
The amazing Tom Sumner, President, Yamaha Corporation here in America. Great talking to him, great catching up with him. Tom's been with Yamaha since, I believe, 1988. Tom has went through the ranks, used to be an account executive to now president. Sits on the board of directors of NAMM. I think he's the treasurer, I believe, or secretary, one of those things that he does over there. But Tom is an awesome guy. Check out Yamaha. If you are a musician or if your child is a musician, have them learn the history of Yamaha. Yamaha's been around, I believe, for many, many years. Well, I messed it up today, but a long time. And definitely check it out. And if you're like me, and if you have a musical background, certain sounds just take you to that place, and it's really, really cool. Love chatting with Tom and catching up with him and what Yamaha's doing. All right, when we get back, we're going to talk about smart guitars. You want to know what it's all about? You know what you have to do. You have to stay tuned. Be right back with more show here on the Tech Zone.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.